Oh, it says recording. I'm gonna leave.
Bye. So we were trying to figure out, like, for an hour, exactly an hour,
Literally an hour.
how to do tweets. So I think tweets maybe is not made for team situation. Maybe it's maybe for one person to have the game and stuff like that, right?
Which makes sense, but I don't understand why it's so difficult to just add a person and then their own help docs don't even work. Like the stuff that it tells you to do is like the options are not even there.
Yeah. So I think as we're building the forest and as we're building our new life in the Web3, there's so many ideas that are coming up. And first of all, I have to tell you that we send the email to exactly 16 people, and we have for 13 people, if I'm correctly, but most of them, they said yes, and everybody seems to be very excited.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure it was my email, because I know it was a very crap email, but I think I think maybe it was I think maybe it was the video that we made, or I think maybe they saw the excitement, right? I mean, people react on passion, enthusiasm, and excitement, right?
I think it'd be interesting to ask everybody, like when we meet on Tuesday, like what made you decide to be a part of it?
Right. Yeah.
It was probably our awesome video. I mean, we're irresistible. So
yeah, it's your lighting. It's your beautiful lighting. That was it. But what I find interesting is, like, the more now, after, like, we have all those people said yes, and as we're building the concept, I think people are getting to because I have, like, a talk with I talk with most of them. So they like the concept of the community building and work within the community to build art and have the opportunity to sell the art through the community. And however we're going to come up with this, because again, we came up with this idea, and I think there's so many different extensions, but the one idea that getting really strong in my head, it's about the metaverse. And I'm reading more and more about metaverse. I actually bought some mana stocks, Decentraland, and what video was it? Somebody was saying about all the technologies of the blockchain, the NFT transactions, the smart contracts, and the crypto coins and everything. They're going to be included all together in the metaverse. And eventually, you just need to have a second life in metaverse and walk in a marketplace and buy stuff with your crypto wallet. And it's not really a new concept. I mean, I think, do you know about Second Life? Remember Second Life?
Yeah, I actually did a project in college on, forget what I called it, but it was like basically doing studies on how people look in real life versus how they look in their like video game characters. So it was like Second Life, I think Diablo, a bunch of other games that were like popular at the time, and just like how people decide to, like, psychologically, it's really interesting how people decide to like present themselves online. Some people will try to be like a mirror image of their actual self, and then other people will just be totally different. It's kind of interesting.
It has been always there. Like when Apple have the custom emojis with your face, you made an avatar, right? Or every time we play a game, we create an avatar. So it has been always there. It has been always there. I mean, I got like to feel like I'm a warlock for years now. I was playing Warcraft and I was feeling I'm a warlock, so somehow.
Well, yeah, it's interesting how you like kind of take on the persona of like another character if you have to. Like if you don't have the option to customize your character to look like you, like I keep seeing these memes about Mario Kart and like how aggressive people get about picking their character. And like if you don't get your character, it like just ruins your game.
Yeah. I can totally understand it. I can understand, because I'm one of those few people. But you know what I want to ask before I go to the metaverse, and because metaverse somehow the forest verse and the theme of the forest, which is like a little bit mystic, a little bit of darkness, but always fresh and organic. It's interesting how people can interact in a natural habitat in an artificial world, but by making real money. I
Mhm.
think there is a nice creative contradiction here. It's like, which I find it very interesting. But the story that we built about the current dystopia, because do you feel there is a business dystopia right now? The world is like, especially for the designers and creative entrepreneurs generally. What do you think?
Like they're like struggling. Is that what you mean?
I mean, the way the things are going right now, I mean, artificial intelligence is pretty much in any kind of creative project,
Mhm.
copywriting. I saw this video, which I want to send you, that you give some parameters to a system and they create a poster for you with AI.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's crazy.
And
Which,
I've seen how it'll write like copy for you if you put in
yes,
some keywords
yes,
and stuff.
yes,
So people are
yes.
doing that to make blog posts to make ad revenue and stuff, which
Well,
is annoying because it's just like how much more pointless content do we need to just throw out into the void? But
that's one thing. And the other thing is that I know of a software that actually I met the founder from the beginning. It was for copywriting. And he was explaining to me, is look, they don't want to replace the copywriters. They want to empower them,
Mhm.
whatever that means. It can make some sense, but what's interesting is like I knew the software and I was in the Facebook group, and there was one guy. He was actually asking questions about how to do this and how to do that, and I remember him because he asked some specific for NFT about the white papers. And after like 5 months, I went to Fiverr and I wanted to check the prices for white paper NFT creation. And I found this guy, and that was the guy. And I asked him out of curiosity, so what's your process? And he started saying mumbo jumbo that the way he does, he takes the elements from me and he starts writing iterations. When I knew in reality that he was making this copywriting from the software, I don't find this to be very bad because somehow I knew, but the internet is a small place, it's a small world. So everything is out there. So it's not a shame to use artificial intelligence. For me, though, it's like where the designers, how the designers react to that. I mean, if you're a talented graphic designer, web designer, what are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna use like just templates and just put things, and you call yourself a designer, a web designer, because I think with the rise of the DIY, people can do it. Maybe they don't have the
Mhm.
time, or don't have the understanding, or you want to sit down with your client and discuss, even for a template, to discuss something that's very organic and authentic.
Mhm.
Somehow, I think we use technology that we understand. Like in my creative agency, I mean, we are using Squarespace. We used to use WordPress, but we used to Squarespace because for restaurants that just need simple websites, and with simple structure. And I mean, you can make one or two templates, a little bit adjustments, and you can show the client, say, I like it. Yes, let's do that. And
Mhm.
do I say it's easy money? I think I just know how to use the
Yeah.
technology.
Well, I think that's what it comes down to is just uh, honestly people being lazy or people prioritizing their time. Like if I'm a business owner, I don't want to spend time building my own website. I'd rather just hire somebody to do it, even though I know I could do it by using templates and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I had another client that actually he told me that he started using Canvas to do graphics, and he started doing his posters. And he has like a laser printer that he's posting his posters in the restaurant. And I felt that that's a graphic designer job, but if he likes doing it, he has some artistic perspective about his place. It's not wrong,
Mhm.
but it's a reality we have to face, right? So what do we do? I mean, we're looking for other customers that they need us. And then, with the rise of those platforms like Fiverr and Upwork, which by the way, I'm not against them, because if you know how to use them, you can make money.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's not like it used to be like 15 years ago. for the graphic designers and for the web designers and all the kind of designers. So that's why I think I see the dystopia coming.
Well,
For
it's like it's twofold because it's like you can take the argument that's like AI is taking our jobs or whatever, but then it's just like when people say that about people migrating to the US and taking jobs, like if somebody can just has no skills or whatever and can come and take your job, then obviously you weren't very good at it to begin with. So
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I think in that sense, I can see a decline of quality gigs for the designers. I'm not gonna say
mhm,
it's the end of the design, even though for me I feel like it's very difficult for people to make money in the graphic design unless you're Aaron Draplin, and you have this big landscape. But if
mhm.
you're not Draplin, which is one of my actually, how much I admire him. But actually, I put in Creative South. I just registered the workshop. It was sold out, and I'm in the wait list. Did you register to any workshops?
I did Christo's workshop, which I
Yeah,
signed up for like 2 years ago at this point.
right, right. But you also have the ticket, right? The whole pass,
Hmm.
right? So yeah, I have to do that. So what I think is this: the NFT and the Web3, it's a new option for designers. It's a new opportunity. Does that mean they're gonna make money? Nothing is secure, right? Nothing is. It's just a new trend, but I think it's more than a trend. It became a
Yeah.
reality. It's kind of factual. People actually made a lot of money, and there is a lot of money moving in the NFT world. And I think it's an
Yeah.
amazing opportunity for those people who have skills to actually showcase
Hmm.
amazing
And I
art.
think beyond just like there's obviously just the art aspect where you're making stuff that looks cool or is fun or whatever, but designing stuff for clients, like making avatars for people or making the NFTs that have actual utility in some way that they can take the NFT and then it becomes like an object in a game or something like that, where you're actually designing things that have value in some way or that people can actually use rather than just being an image.
So they can use this actually as providing services, you mean, for other people?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's a huge market for that right now.
Yeah, because
Especially like if you think about all the big brands that are getting into it, like Nike and Coachella and like all these huge organizations, like they need people, they have the ideas and the content and everything, but they need designers and artists to actually make the things.
well, one of the members of our DAO, Justin, he's a 3D designer for footwear. That's his passion. So we're talking about that he doesn't have any. He hasn't found people in that niche, footwear 3D, and I think there's so many different niches in the design world. But I'm very happy when I hear people say, "I found my niche," and that's the niche. And if you
Mm-hmm.
somehow can find it in the Web3, you're becoming even more, I guess, more fulfilled for what you're doing. But
Mm-hmm.
the topic here is that the current dystopia, or the world that goes in dystopia right now for the designers, I think why we try to build this small oasis, a haven for people to come and learn about the NFTs. Because here's the other thing: I think a lot of designers, they're still skeptical about the Web3 for many reasons.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it's like every year there's something else. Like this year it's Web3, but the past few years it's been whatever. Like there's always like, I guess from my perspective, like there's the push for like all designers need to learn how to code and program and blah blah blah. And then everyone was freaking out about that. And then next it was like the thing we talked about with brand strategy, like every designer has to be a brand strategist. And now it's like every designer has to make NFTs.
well, I think every designer has to do some things about the trends are becoming
Mm,
facts. And if you want to compete, to
yeah.
go out of this dystopia, let's say business dystopia, you have to be equipped with more skills. So I think I know about the old school designers that they kind of have so many decades under the belt. But at least for the younger generation, I think it's a must to learn more things. Like I know Chris, who's also part of our DAO. He's a very talented graphic designer, but he's an amazing animator, and he knows how to make web design, and he knows also how to do video production,
Yeah.
right? So
So it's like finding your niche thing that you can be really good at, but that doesn't mean that you have to eliminate everything else, which I think has been like a topic of conversation the last couple of years in the design industry. Is like you have to find your niche and it has to be this one thing, and people freak out because it's like, oh, I have to pick a niche and I have to stick with it for the rest of my life and I can't ever do any other kind of work, and I'm going to get so bored because I'm just working on this one thing for the rest of my life. But it's just it's just dialing yourself into that to give yourself a focus and to have people
yes.
know how to hire you. But that doesn't mean that you can't, like Chris, like do all those different kinds of things, because I mean I do the same, and that's what has kept me going and full-time freelancing. Like you have to have a variety of services that you offer. You can't just have one thing.
So I have two questions for you. You're a freelancer, web developer, and designer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you used to work in an agency.
Mm-hmm.
How did you decide to go freelance?
Mm,
I put you on the spot now or no?
yeah, that's a tough question.
We
Well,
can let's talk about music.
uh I don't know if there I don't think there's really like one thing that it boils down to. I know like when I was in school for design, the whole time I was thinking like I just want to be a full-time freelance designer, like that's my life goal. And that I feel like that's just kind of like pounded into every designer's head. Like that's the ultimate measure of success, when you can just be full-time freelance and not have a boss and do whatever you want and somehow have money to travel all over the world and do all of this stuff. So I always had that mentality that I wanted to be full-time freelance. And then I actually had been freelancing since I was in school. So I was working full time and freelancing at the same time,
Mm,
and burnt myself out on that eventually, which was like right around the time COVID started. I feel like
mm.
I got super burnout and I was just like, I'm done with freelancing. Like, I can't do it anymore. I'm just going to focus on the agency Monday to Friday and then do whatever I want in the outside time. So I did that for a very short amount of time.
You couldn't
And
do it.
yeah. And I was like, no, I actually do like freelancing. And I don't know what I know, like right before I decided to leave my job, I was out here in Colorado before I moved, and I had like a week and a half off of work. And that was like the longest time I'd taken off of work in forever, for like years. And I was like, this is nice. Like, I really like not doing work. And I also found out I really like Colorado and ended up moving here. But
Yeah.
that's for something in there is what made the decision for me, where I was like able to kind of like, because I was working a little bit, but I was just kind of like working when I wanted to and doing some freelance stuff, and then
Right.
like making my own schedule and like going to work at like coffee shops and stuff. And I don't know, something, I think it was like, the pandemic kind of changed everyone, and it like made us realize what we really care about and what we really want in life. And kind of for me made me feel like I've wasted 2 years being stuck inside, not doing anything fun, not doing what I want. So now I want to only do what I want. So something with all those things merged together while I was here on vacation. And I was just like, I don't know, now's the time. Like, I'd been there for 6 years, and I feel like I wasn't like, obviously I was learning stuff and building my portfolio, and I learned a ton while I was there, but I felt like I wasn't really making progress. Like, I didn't really have anywhere to go from there. And
Yeah.
I also just like being able to work with clients directly and building that like relationship with them and actual like friendship with them long term. Because when you work at an agency, you depending on what level you are as a designer, like you may not ever talk to the client, or you might talk to them sometimes, but you're not really that involved. And it's it's good in some ways, like takes the pressure off that you don't have to like do meetings and all that. But then I feel like you don't get to understand the client deeply enough, and you don't, and for me at least, I feel like I can't do as good of work when I don't get to like be in the room with that person and like really like see how they react to things and like learn about them. I don't know. That's
I
my
think
spiel.
I think I think what I gather is like first of all, I want to give, I mean, in this discussion, credits to all the agency owners that they actually have people that they're paying, because the pandemic was very rough for a lot of people, but also for them that they have to take care of their employees and they have to react to the pandemic, right? So I have to give credit because I am an agency owner, you know. I had people and I had to let them go in the pandemic, and now we're working in more like in a contract kind of style. But I understand being an agency owner and having to take care of employees and clients,
Mhm.
and then to go through the pandemic. So I have to give credits to agency owners, and on the same note, I have to give credit also to the people who work in the agencies, because you know, I mean, they are creative, but somehow they are justifying themselves in the world of the agency because they know they can still be creative up to the point they don't feel very suppressed. Let me rephrase it. I think there is creativity if you work for other people, but if this thing is doesn't eat you alive from inside, that you want to be even
Mhm.
more creative and you want to do more artistic parts, you
Mhm.
know, then you're good. But if you
Yeah.
have this microbe inside of you that eats you alive, say, I want to do something else. And like
Yep.
you said, you know, I want to travel and I want to be able to go to a coffee shop and I want to be able to do those things. You know, the sense of freedom, I think is very
Mhm.
important. And I
Yeah,
think
I
the,
think that's
you know,
another good point, because like for me and like my own agency now, I'm trying to target like specific types of clients where obviously I work with designers and other creatives a lot, where like helping them build out portfolio sites, but then like other industries as well, like automotive industry is a big one for me, and like music related things, like things that I'm like deeply invested and involved in. I want to like work with those types of people who have the same similar interests. So that I think that was another part of it, was like at an agency, you're just working on what you get told to work on and whatever clients come in and whatever specific clients the agency is targeting, and they may not be the same as what you want to do. And of course, like it has to be like that. If you're going to scale an agency and make enough money to support everyone, like you have to take on some of the clients that are maybe not as ideal, like some corporate stuff or whatever. But I think like just being able to pick and choose now what I'm going to work on, like what I think is worth my time and like something that I'm actually interested in doing versus just doing kind of like busy work and stuff
right.
that makes money.
You know, it's interesting because I found this as we were building the new project and I was doing some analysis of numbers and statistics. The graphic design global industry, the global industry of the graphic design, 90% are freelancers.
That
And
seems hard to believe.
was that?
That seems hard to believe.
It's very high, right? Isn't it high, the number?
Yeah, I would think it would be way lower than that.
Well, that's what I found from two sources. So I don't know how accurate it is, but I think in the graphic design or generally in the design industry, people want to have the sense of freedom. People want to have their own clients. People want to have the communication with clients, like you said. People want to make creative parts, and you want to have the sense of freedom, you know? And I think if 90% of the industry is freelancers, the 10% actually is like jobs. So the way I see it, the traditional way to explain a graphic design job is kind of dying. If
Mhm.
it's 10% of the global industry is like
Well,
jobs.
I think like part of that too is that these companies, to save money, they try to bundle everything into one job. It's
Mm,
like, oh, marketing director, you can do design and social media and SEO
right,
and
right,
writing and all these
right.
other things. So I
Yes,
think that's part
yes.
of it too.
Yeah, it's a lot of consolidation here. You know, if you're a social media manager, you have to do some basic graphic design, you know, and stuff, so on. Yeah, yeah, I get it. But I think for me, for all those freelancers that they decide to leave the 9 to 5 and the security they have from this paycheck. whatever security gives them, I think it's the defining moment in their lives to say, I'm gonna go on my own. It's scary but an exciting feeling. And we all been there. We just left our 9 to 5 security to pursue something on our own, right? So that means something for this
Yeah.
industry and for those freelancers. That means that it's it's a strong
Hmm.
strong industry, those freelancers. That means for me, those are people that they weren't scared to live and to do it on their own.
Hmm.
And that's something actually that drove me when I was creating the story about the forest and everything, to relate to those people, because I'm one of them, but I want to relate with in a community level,
Hmm.
because me and you, we connect to the fact that we are both freelancers, right? We are grinding on a daily basis. We have to do things. Nobody's paying us a paycheck. There's no steady paycheck. We have to go out there and get it,
Hmm.
you know? And
But I think it's interesting too, because obviously, yeah, you have to be a strong person to just dive off the deep end and hope for the best. Or stupid, maybe strong and stupid, but
there must be a level of stupidity, but it's a naive stupidity. It's a very
yeah.
nice, naive stupidity.
But it's interesting, like what happens after that. Like for me, like obviously I was scared because I didn't know like what was going to happen next. I had no more like runway. It was just like falling off a cliff and like hoping I'm going to fly kind of a thing. But now, like looking back on it, it makes you realize how strong and resilient you actually are, and how like for me like increases my self-worth and how I view like what's capable and like what I can do. Like I feel like now that I've done that, like I can do anything. Like
Right.
everyone, you freak out about, paying your bills and everything, but then you figure out ways to do that.
Exactly. Exactly. And you realize that the possibilities are endless. You
Hmm.
can do pretty much anything.
And
And I
then you
think,
think, why didn't I do this sooner?
yes, yes. And you know what? You realize that there's nothing you cannot do in that realm.
Hmm.
Is it web design you want to do and you're a graphic designer? You can do it.
You can
Is
learn
it,
it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's things you can learn. That doesn't mean that everybody can do it, but for us, it was kind of easy. I mean, I started doing vector graphics for t-shirts on Adobe Illustrator, and I self-taught it. I had a business degree. I wasn't in the business of design, but I found the Illustrator to be a cool tool, you know, and I bought my own cutter, my own laser, press. It was fun. It
Yeah.
was fun to see people getting t-shirts with vector graphics, and you see the smiles. And then,
Hmm.
somebody said, I want a t-shirt for my coffee shop, but I don't have a logo. And then I started like mix
Hmm.
matching typefaces with circles and stuff, and coffee cups from clip arts. And then we made something amazing. And there you are. I did the branding
Yeah.
identity.
Then
And
you're like,
then,
holy shit, how did I do that? I don't know. I was in it and I did it.
when I realized, which is interesting, when I made for this, my friend, a very simple logo, for a coffee shop. Um, he asked me from the beginning to put it on a t-shirt, right, as a hit press, and then he told me, "Can you help me design the menus and my business cards and maybe some posters?" I said, "Dude, I never done this." He was my friend though, so he was very flexible. Say, as long as you're patient with me, we can try. I said,
Yeah.
"Let's try." I mean, the logo came out great, so and I started
That
doing Adobe InDesign, which that
Oh
was kind
God.
of pain in the
I'm gonna
ass.
get triggered here in a second.
That was kind of pain in the ass, but you know what? I love Illustrator, and then I went to Photoshop, and then when I went to InDesign, and I realized it's not as difficult. It has like special features, but then you
Hmm.
learn the shortcuts, you learn like
Hmm.
all those small things, the hacks, and you're
Yeah.
becoming a
Yeah,
designer.
that's how you grow. And I feel like it stems from like somebody asking you for something. Like I was talking to Brian about this the other day because he's kind of like relearning how to do some
Our
different
Brian,
program. Yeah, how to do some different programming languages and stuff. And we were just talking about like how we learn stuff in school versus at work, or like just in your free time or whatever. And it's like everything I learned was just either me just screwing around or a client asking me for something. And that's how I learn the most, is when I'm just like thrown into the deep end. Like somebody would be like, oh, do you know how to integrate this this API to this website, or pull my transactions from Square into the website or
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I know how to do that. And then meanwhile, in the back of my head, I'm like panicking, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I have to figure it out. And every time I've done that, like, I've probably given myself like an aneurysm or something, but I've learned so much. Like, I just absorbed so much information when you're put
Yeah.
into that situation where you're not only like having to rely on yourself, but you're like, you have to do it for somebody else too. And like
Yeah.
somebody's
Yeah.
like, you don't want to change their opinion of you.
Well, I think most of the people are DAO, the people we brought together, and we're gonna meet them on Tuesday. And the creatives we're gonna bring in the community to learn how to actually make NFTs and to actually navigate the Web3. Um, I think those people, we can all relate with each other in some capacity. And I think there is from our nature, we want to connect with people, but we don't want to connect just with any people. We want to connect with people that they have similar traits at some capacity. So, I mean, I can connect with people, I can be nice with people, but I cannot connect like right now with somebody who does something very different and we don't have the same topics of discussion. Up to a point, but then it's gonna be boring. But with creatives, I can connect to the struggles, to their aspirations, to their artistic minds, to their business minds. So it's an amazing energy that is being created. And the thing I like about us, the creatives, is like we like collaboration. We love to do things together. Let's pick our minds together. Let's see how we can complete each other and make amazing stuff. So that's that's somehow the core concept of the forest, to bring those creatives together and teach them how it's not difficult to become an NFT designer. And for the people who feel left out or intimidated by the technology, uh, I have to tell you guys, I mean, personally, I don't know about you, Rachel, but I'm still learning. And it's an exciting journey to learn about the Web3. But it's not only about the Web3, it's where the world goes. So I think there's going to be a reaction from the world not to have central authorities to control their transactions or their communication. Everything's going
That's
to be
yeah. That's the
decentralized.
biggest thing about it for me. That's the most interesting, aside from like the collaboration aspect and like the community aspect of it is really huge, especially as we were talking about, like we're just working on our own all the time. Like it'll be really nice to have a community of people to work with and talk to, but the decentralized aspect I think is really huge, and I think that's what's going to make all of this stuff last and evolve long term, and it's not just going to be a fad. And I'm not going to go like full anarchist right now, but I do sometimes. So it's a really appealing idea to me.
Well, the main music theme is punk rock in the forest, so it's not because we're a little bit anarchists, but we have our own principles, our own values, and it includes everybody here. There is a lot of empathy, a lot of compassion, a lot of curiosity about what people are doing. We want to know, we want to learn from each other. So I think we're gonna build an amazing energy. So the vision is there, but what I find very interesting, with the theme of the forest, and what you can find inside the forest. We're talking. You brought the idea of like the guilds. Remember about everybody's gonna have their own like small tribe based on more niched interests, or I mean, we're gonna figure out, I guess, but more specific tasks. But eventually, the big vision, at least for me here, hopefully for the rest of the gang, is gonna be to build our own metaverse. And I imagine those guilds to have their own galleries to showcase, and I imagine collectors and investors. Oh my
That's
goodness!
Oscar right now.
Oh my goodness! So you
I
guys,
can't focus, so I'm just looking at him like that. All right,
li- listen.
continue.
Me and Kristen, when we work, because she works in the next office in the office, we just text each other photos of our cats, see what they're doing, if they're sleep together. So I totally get it. So trust me. But in the metaverse, imagine now that there is a village inside the forest, and collectors and investors are coming, and they're going to this virtual reality shops and galleries, and they see artwork, and they can buy it immediately. This is something, and with the crypto wallets and everything in the virtual reality world, it's going to be amazing. So I think the opportunities are there, and maybe you can have a virtual conference for designers, and maybe you can have the avatar of Chris Do, which is going to be from his computer, to actually
We
having a
actually
workshop.
did that. Did I tell you about that?
No.
So was it last year? Not 2021. Yeah, it was 2020. So for Design Excel, our first year was 2019. Then 2020 rolled around, pandemic. Obviously, we couldn't have it in person. So we partnered with this other local conference called EntreCon, and we basically just did like a design track at their conference where we're like educating business owners and entrepreneurs and like marketing people about design and like the value of design. And we had Chris Stowe come talk, and he did it virtually. So he had this software called Deggy World. Have you heard of it?
No.
DEGY. So it's like very, like the graphics can be improved. It feels very like 90s, but it's kind of funny. So you have your own avatar, and you can walk around in the world and go to like different conference rooms and stages and stuff like that. So that's how they had it set up. And then we had Chris, and he had this little 3D avatar guy on the stage that looked exactly like him, but like digital version. And so he's like standing there, and it just looks like he's presenting to the crowd of like all these avatars. And then on the background, he has like his slide deck on one screen, and then a actual video of him in real life talking. So it was like the real him and then his digital version,
So
like standing
cool.
on the stage. I'll
So
have to
cool.
send you like a
Yeah, send me this.
screenshot of it.
But
It
that's what
was
I'm
really
talking
cool though.
about. It was always there. I mean, somehow this technology is not new. What's
Yeah.
new is the interaction right now. It's not like through credit cards or mainframes or central authorities. It's between us. It's all through decentralization. So I think it changes the game right now. So the new augmented reality, I think, is going to be more real because it's going to include this freedom of transaction without having to think about fees and who's controlling the communication and who's doing what, so I think
And also,
freedom is a big part here.
yeah. And then like integrating everything into like one space, I feel like, because you could have like, you have Deggy World, which is its own thing, and it's really only used for events and conferences. And then you have like video games and other like online worlds and stuff, but none of them are connected, and the currency is different, and all that is totally different. So it'd be interesting to see like one like metaverse that everyone is a part of.
Yeah. I want to do my own guild. I mean, my own shop inside the forest verse with my food photos. I have some really dope food photos. So hopefully I'm going to get restaurant collectors to come and take photos and take buy my NFTs.
You said
Anyway,
food photos?
Food photos. Yes. I have some
I
really.
thought you said foot photos. I was like, all right.
No food photos. No, I'm not that fetish. But burgers and pizzas, yes, all time. Anyway, so as we're moving forward, I mean, this is like just a casual discussion. I mean, you would just decided to have as we're building this thing. Today we try to create a Twitch account and stream to build a landing page together. It didn't work out, so we say, you know what? Just let's go to the Zoom and let's have a discussion Saturday night and discuss about what's coming up. I'm very excited now. Let me tell you why I'm excited, because the people we we will have in the first meeting are people with a multi-skill background. So somehow I feel the only thing we're missing right now is like the big engineers of Web3, and eventually, if the DAO becomes self-sustainable, we're gonna be able to hire those people to make. Unless you're gonna become very proficient, because I know you're learning right now what you do in the Web3 as a designer. So maybe until then, you're gonna take over this thing. But maybe that's gonna be your part. But I feel excited today. I was talking with Justin, and Justin was an introduction from Heather. So Heather and Diane together doing some stuff, and Justin is in the pro group, and Justin, he was so excited about the project, and he was telling me about the 3D and the footwear, and he was like all over the place about NFTs. And when I told him, I said, he told him explain the project, he was very pumped. And I say, listen, one of the things eventually we want to do a card game like a Dungeon Dragon. Say, no, like Dungeons and Dragons. I love Dungeons and Dragons. You know, I can see that many characters, many races. So I say, and the more I talk to people, I realize that there are different elements that people can relate to. Maybe some
Mhm.
people that don't have the same excitement for everything, but we can like connect those dots and create like beautiful, beautiful strokes. And I'm just excited about what we're gonna do with everything. But it's gonna be an interesting meeting. So yeah, I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that.
What do you think about like, because when you said that, it was making me think of like childhood stuff and like, I don't know if you're into like the psychology stuff about like your inner child and all that. I've read a lot about that kind of stuff, but like I feel like we all have something, like you were saying earlier, like where the passion comes in, and it's like it usually is something that stems from like your childhood. Like for me, I keep talking about the Neopet stuff and like video games and like stuff I used to be really into as a kid, and how that can be like translated into Web3 now. And then like with him with Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. What do you think about that?
I think everybody, and when I mean everybody, I mean everybody. They want to find to do something creative that has a gamification inside, because the gaming part of it makes them feel like they're kids.
Mm-hmm.
And feeling like a kid, I was actually reading about one of the biggest persuasive patterns in psychology is nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Nostalgia, it's one of the warmest place for the brain to go. When you have your friends playing different games or doing things, this innocent time with no problems, no
Mm-hmm.
bills to pay, no pandemics back then, just games and fun and friends and music. So nostalgia. I was exploring how businesses are bringing nostalgia. One of the biggest companies that they brought nostalgia as a big marketing pattern, persuasive pattern, was Coca-Cola. It's always you remember back in
Mm-hmm.
the day, Coca-Cola is not something that I want a Coca-Cola now. The Santa Claus or the retro, the vintage
Yeah.
posters and everything.
And
So
then the polar bears at Christmas time, the
exactly,
commercials.
exactly, exactly. So they nailed the nostalgia part. So for me, there is nostalgia in what we're building, because first of all, the forest as a place for all the kids was a nice place. The parks,
Mm-hmm.
whatever has green, it was like a natural habitat with no dangers to go and play and to have fun and maybe have a hike and stuff with your friends. So I don't know about you, but for me, forest played a huge,
Yeah.
huge like part in my my younghood. We're always going to hang out in the forest. So
Yeah, we
yeah,
did too. And my neighborhood like kind of backed up to the woods, and that's what we call them in the South. I don't know if that's
the
a
woods.
normal thing, the woods.
Yeah,
And they kind of like, we had woods in between, and there was like three like surrounding neighborhoods. So we would like go through the woods to get to the other neighborhoods and like meet the other kids, and like people would play paintball in the woods and just like find trails and stuff. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I think I really want everybody from our committee on the DAO and the people who are gonna come in the creative community. I want them to feel like kids. I want them to feel like innocent and stupid and naive. Just to
Yeah, we
talk
don't
about
get,
things.
yeah, I feel like we don't get that opportunity in our normal life to just like relax, have fun, talk about stuff that we enjoy, not have to be an adult all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm kind of exhausted being an adult.
Yeah.
So I want to go back, and I play my games. You said Diablo. I still play Diablo sometimes just to relax, and I do watch some movies. Lately, my one of my secret passions, like I'm watching movies from the 80s that remind me my younghood, and I watched like
Hmm.
2 days ago The Breakfast Club. And as I was watching the movie and the music soundtrack and everything, I'm just there.
Yeah.
I'm
The
there.
music is a big one for sure. Like there's so many movies that I feel like I just like because the soundtrack is
Oh,
nostalgic to me.
big time, big time. For this, one of the guys who joined the DAO, he's like, we were talking about the project, and he was like, "Yeah, man, and we can make the music for that, and we can compose like different parts, and we can have like some he was all about
Mhm.
bringing the concept and to create another part that we don't have,
Yeah.
like the music, so people are getting creative. You
That's
give them
really
like
interesting too, because I keep seeing all these like memes that are about like old like video game music and stuff, and like just like sounds and things that you hear and it immediately like transports you back in time. Like there's a one that's like the sound of when the PlayStation turns on and it has like the Sony logo, and it makes this sound, and it's kind of like the Netflix sound, like the
yeah.
thing, like just stuff like that that immediately like gives you like that warm nostalgic feeling. And did you see that one that I posted yesterday, the Donkey Kong,
Yes, of course.
the
It
the
was Donkey Kong
soundtrack?
or something else. It was like
Was it Donkey Kong?
dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun, I think.
I'm pretty sure it was Donkey Kong, and it was
Yeah.
like the composers only had to make music for a video game about an ape or whatever, and it was like this super elaborate soundtrack, and it was so cool. I don't know, I think that's interesting. Like,
Yeah, I just want to see when you put an idea that it comes from your need to connect with people in a different level. And this level is not like a next level, it's not a meta level, it's like, let's get back to the basics. Very simple communication, very simple understanding about things. And for me, it was always about connecting. It was always about meeting people that I can connect to. I think for me, it's like one of my life mission to keep meeting people that we can relate to some capacity, because I can learn from these people the things that interest me and somehow I may miss from my journey. So I can relate to those people because
mhm.
we hear the same music, we listen to the same music, we like the same games, and we like art. And that's why I love the NFT world. The NFT world, and listen, I mean, I have people, the skepticism is kind of valid for a lot of things. A lot of scamming, a lot of manipulation, but that's life. That's
Yeah.
life. And we always have to put the context in what's going on. So it's not like a new technology came and it doesn't have the bad things. It does have bad things. All the new things have bad things. But it's, if you put them out of, the proportion, the right proportion, then it's, I think that people have other agendas. So anyway, when I was like actually watching the NFT world and see that people made like 69 million, 5 million, and 10 million, I say, okay, this is a joke. This is not real. People are, this is money laundering for me. So immediately my mind went to the worst thing.
Mhm.
And then I started exploring, I started reading. Then some of the people in the big tech, they were explaining about the Web3 and how this is revolutionary. And I found that the thing that with art, there is some really good art and some art I don't like. But if I don't like some some art and it sells for a good amount of money, it doesn't matter what I think, right? So
Yeah.
it's just about observing the market. So there is market there. So if there's market, what are you gonna be? You're gonna be against the market. You just have to understand the market. If you feel something is not beautiful or pretty, okay, I mean, at the end of the day, nobody cares what we think. I mean, what we care is like how we observe this to take advantage of it and understand it for our own benefit. So that's what I think is very useful for me.
Mhm.
Observe the patterns, how the market works, but I will never try to make a crappy art to sell
Yeah.
just for the sake to say, okay,
Mhm.
people are making crappy art when I'm
Which,
making. So
yeah, that happens with anything. You look at logos, there's people on Upwork that make logos for $10 or whatever, and they're terrible. And they're just like ripping off some clip art or another logo that's already been made. Like there's that in any industry. So I don't understand why it's any different with NFTs.
yeah, but I think it's interesting that the NFT world, I mean, it has risen through art. It could have, let's say, it could have been something else. It could have been just video games. It could have been, let's say, something else, but it was art. It was graphic design, right? So I think this is where I get attracted to it and start elaborating and say, okay, this is cool. So that's the opportunity for everybody right now. People whose skills, like illustrators, graphic designers, motion designers, 3D designers, anything that comes in the creative world, I think people should get involved. And
Mhm.
it's not an absolute fact. It's not the fact that all actually going to make money. But what's interesting, it's what needs to be interesting to them is like the need to understand how it works so that they can have it as an extra element
Mhm.
on the arsenal.
Yeah.
So because this thing is flying right now and nobody needs to be left out. So that's why we're building what we're building. So we take them all together and to this train, and what do you say the last time? It was like the sail the sunset or something else. But anyway, uh I think it's interesting of the opportunities. There's so many opportunities right now. Did I ask you if you have any NFTs? Do you have you told me you have some NFTs, right?
That I've made or bought or
You
both.
bought. You bought.
Uh, I actually haven't bought any yet. There's a couple I've been looking at, but I got one for free from the BFF um uh, like launch event that they had, which is for getting women more involved in crypto and Web3. So if you attended the whole session, you actually got a free NFT, which they didn't tell you until the very end. So you had to
That's
stay the
cool.
whole time.
That's cool.
So I got that, which is like a BFF charm bracelet thing, which actually was designed by Jessica Hish. And she's done all of their branding and everything. I know a lot of people in the design industry look up to her. So if she's making NFTs, maybe all the other designers should be too. But so I got that one for free. I didn't have to do anything. I attended a free event on YouTube live stream thing, and it's now worth like point 0.8 Ethereum, I think, is the latest
Yeah,
offer I've gotten on it, which is
nice.
close to $2,000 right now. So,
Not bad.
and yeah, I didn't do anything. I just went and learned.
Right, right. Well, to the point you said about the women and the participation of women in the Web3 and the crypto, what do you think? What's happening in that realm?
I mean, for me personally, I think it seems very like broy right now and like bros clubs, which is how a lot of the DAOs and NFT groups are. Um, I don't know. I think that's just like what, what we're seeing on Instagram or in the news or whatever. Everything around Web3 is very like manly and kind of like boys club sort of a feel. But I think that's changing with BFF is a huge part of it, and a lot of female celebrities got involved with that. And then there's a bunch of other women's groups like Crypto Chicks and Women in NFTs and a whole bunch of other collections that are coming out now that are geared for women and groups for women. So I think it's improving, but I
Mm.
think it just kind of started out with the bad vibe, I think, of just being like, I just imagine like some like 30-year-old dude in his parents' basement that plays like League of Legends or whatever. And he's like making like NFTs and then like makes a DAO. And it's just like, I feel like that's what I picture when I think about Web3 stuff, but hopefully that's
So,
going to change.
what would be a scenario for more women to be involved, you think?
I think just making more women oriented communities that are actually led by women and managed by women so that everyone can feel like they're represented and that like they have a place to go, and it's not just like one women's group, which is how it seemed to be for a while.
Do you think it should be only women's group or should be like a diversity between men and women so they can learn how to interact with each other in terms of the gender, in terms of the business and however they externalize art?
I think both. I think ideally it'd be men and women, intertwined like regular society, but it's nice to sometimes have like, I'm sure you understand from like, oh, I'm gonna hang out with the bros tonight or whatever. Like it's nice to be able to have like a girls' night or whatever and talk about, similar interests and things that you go through that men may not understand. So I think it's nice to have both options, but I feel like women just haven't really been represented in Web3,
Well,
but they are now.
well, how can you explain that the fact that I like hanging out with you? Like you're a friend of mine, you're a woman, and we relate to a lot of things. I think, I hope. So how can you explain that? I mean, is this a is there a pattern here? How men and women should like connect, and isn't it like the common interest that we both have in
Mhm.
doing things? So isn't it about exploring opportunities in common realms somehow, and then
Mhm.
it just happened? It doesn't matter. I mean, for me,
Mhm.
at some point, it doesn't really matter if you're woman or man. It's about the value I'm perceiving from this connection, whatever it is, But it's interesting that it was too broy, and not a lot of women, they were resistant, say that's not for us, But there
Mhm.
are women actually that are very strong and powerful in that realm, and I think you're gonna become one of them. I can definitely see that. And how can you explain the fact that women were resistant to this thing? I mean, it really fascinates me because I don't want to say things about the men, but I mean, listen, we both have like
Well,
good traits and bad traits, but I think that a good collaboration, a good connection, or like somebody somehow like a good mixing of people can create a lot of great results. That's what I think.
mhm. I think it's like, to me it boils down to like two main things. One is a whole other conversation about society and women and how women are
Right.
raised, and like typically not as like risk averse, and especially financially risk averse, compared to men. Like I feel like men are more willing to fail and take chances and try new things and get out there and like meet people and stuff like that in general. But I
Yeah.
because I feel like we're, as women, we're raised to like, oh, be careful, like don't get dirty, don't do anything too
Yes.
crazy, don't put yourself in a dangerous situation, like blah blah blah, all that crap. So I think it's like partially that, and then partially like, if I, let's say a year ago or whatever, wanted to get into web3, and I just see all these like male dominated discords and stuff, like I would run screaming from there. Like I would not like, I would not want to go join that and like say hello, because it would be like a stampede of one of two things. It would either be dudes trying to hit on you and being very creepy and weird and gross, or dudes just being complete assholes.
Yeah.
And speaking from experience, especially like when I was younger in online communities and stuff, like I would be in a lot of like car groups or like things that are considered like manly or whatever. And as
Hmm.
soon as I would join like a Facebook group and be like, hey guys, like this is my car, blah, 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 whatever. Nice to meet you guys. It would be like an influx of like just negative comments like, oh, I bet this isn't even, this is your boyfriend's car, or you don't know how to do anything with your car, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're just a woman, whatever. Like, just dumb stuff. Like, it doesn't happen as much now, thankfully, in 2022, but it still happens. And I feel like there's
Yeah.
like that, the fear there of going into like a male dominated space is that it's, whether it's the creepy thing or the asshole thing, like it's not a good experience
Yeah.
either way. So,
Yeah. I think men are kind of intimidated by women, and
mhm.
that's why they're becoming so creepy and so gross with
Yeah.
those stupid comments. So
Well, then, like another example, because we're always talking about music, is like growing up, it was like, if I literally, like, I've heard people talk about this on YouTube channels, and guys are like, that doesn't happen or whatever. It fucking does happen. Like, I would, like, as a teenager, I would either go to school or go to the mall or something. If I have a Metallica shirt on or something, a random ass dude I've never met in my life would come up to me and be like, name 3 Metallica songs. I bet you don't even like them. You're just wearing the shirt because you think it looks cool or whatever. Just like stuff like that mentality, I feel like just seeps into groups like that. And especially online, because people don't have to be accountable for their actions, and they're just
yeah.
hiding behind their
Yeah.
profile picture or whatever, and they can say whatever they want.
Well,
But
that's
that's a
why.
whole other tangent.
Well, that's why actually I like our community building, because it's with creatives, and somehow I feel the creative community is more civilized
Hmm.
in that sense. There's no like there's no
Definitely.
there's
Yeah.
no any. I mean, we don't see people the way they look or the way they sound or the way they are. I don't think we care.
No.
That's what I think. I mean, I personally don't really care, and I'm trying to understand why I don't care. I guess it's maybe it's my philosophy of life. I feel like we all here for a purpose, just to live and have
Hmm.
fun, and just don't hurt people, to be happy. Do I care about?
Well, maybe it's because like all of us in the creative community, we all enjoy what we do. So we're
Yeah,
happier, more fulfilled people, and we're not hateful and trying to tear other people down. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. So maybe that's a good blueprint for the society, what the creative people are doing, right? And how they behave as humans. That can be a blueprint for the rest of the, people categories or groups or communities or societies, And I'm not saying that there are bad societies or communities out there, but I have experience, harassment, and I have experience. I have seen things, people being disrespectful to people because of things they didn't agree with. So anyway, I think the community, I think it's going to be in our manifesto. We
Mhm.
just care for a very seamless and painless navigation to Web3 and art. And we really want to make, people want to make money. I really feel that people need to make money. So, because if they take off the stress of, they don't have to pay the bills, they will be even more creative to keep doing what they love,
Exactly. Yeah, I think
So,
that's a good point to be made too. That like I see a lot of people in the creative community that are like, I don't want to be like money hungry or focused on financial stuff or whatever. But like that, I
uh,
get that, but that is what sets you up for success and freedom and more creativity when you don't have to be busting your ass all the time. You have time to breathe. You have built up your savings account or your runway or whatever, and you have enough money to have the freedom to do what you want. And then that
right.
makes you more creative.
Yes, I agree. Amen to that. So, with that being said, the next thing we have is the meeting on Tuesday. We're gonna have our first DAO. We're gonna have an introduction with everybody. And what do you think? I mean, and what we're doing right now, and this is gonna be open platform, transparent. There's gonna be a decentralized video. um, I don't even know what that means anyway. Um, um, what will be for you? Because we are planning to record everything, right? That was the idea. We are planning to record everything, the building, and right now, I mean, two people came together under like common vision, and we're still building it together. You still try to understand each other, but we agreed that there is something there, and now we found 13 more people to agree with the email we sent them, which is, it's amazing. It's exciting.
And that's just people that we know somehow that we have
Yes.
connections to. So imagine what's going to
Yeah.
happen beyond that.
Oh, yes. Well, I saw that 2 weeks ago. I had the workshop with Jacob, and we have like 500 registrations, and my Instagram got like jammed with people say, "How can I contribute? Where do I buy the NFT?" So there is a demand for people to become a part of something in the creative world. So, what do you think should be the topics of discussion on Tuesday? Introduction. I mean, let's say, who are we?
Mhm.
Maybe I should like set the tone, explain maybe in very
Mhm.
small, short story, the high level, what's going on, and you can also say what's going on. And
Mhm. I guess basically, yeah, just like a TLDR synopsis of what the group is for, and then like where we're at currently, like what we've done so far, and then what is about to happen. And then just let everyone introduce themselves and get to know each other and do kind of like we talked about the question of like, I think maybe two questions where it's like, what are you excited about in Web3? And then like, what made you decide to join the
yeah,
DAO? And then
yeah,
just kind of like have it be introductions, but have it be kind of like an open, casual conversation so that everybody can get to know each other. And then just kind of have it like an open Q&A from them to
yes,
us and to each other. Cause I mean, I don't want it to just be us just like talking at
yes,
them. Cause I mean, we're not going to be the ones in charge. We're all going to be in charge equally. So I want to make sure that everyone feels like they can ask questions, get on the same page with us, and that like they have a voice and it's not just us talking to them all the time.
Yes, and we also have to make the question, what's the favorite food? For me, it's very important to see what kind of food they're eating, okay, just to spice it up a little bit. But
What
I
are you
think
gonna pick?
I have so many, I have to think about it. But my favorite food is pork chops with French fries. So the Greek way, very simple. But the thing that we have to do, I think, immediately after, let's say, the first meeting. How is Oscar? He's like sweet and
He it's so ridiculous. I'm gonna have to take a picture.
you can't help it. You're in love with this guy.
He's on the pillow like a human. And he's like doing this on purpose. I'm pretty sure. Look at this
Oh,
shit.
come on.
That's on purpose.
Come on, this guy. Oh my goodness. He's
Such
so
a
cute.
ham.
Cuteness overload. So the thing we'll have to do after the meeting, I think we maybe have to ask them after this call if some people that don't want to participate. So we can
Mhm.
make the final, So like maybe some people say, that's a lot of work. So maybe some people that will, stay. It not for now, and it's fine. I think it's good. So maybe we're
Yeah.
gonna have a final. So I think the first thing is like the final filtering, right, of the people, and then what we have to do is the DAO. Is we really have to see how to make this DAO to
Mhm.
just so we can substantiate it. Do you agree with that or no?
Yeah, what do you, after the meeting, just do another like are you in
So
kind of
after a
thing?
meeting, we will ask them for the same day. You know how much I like the momentum. So they don't
Maximum pressure.
so we don't put them on the spot on the video. Said, guys, now that we're gonna send you an email with maybe a regroup or maybe with a video, maybe the video. And we want in one day the response if you're still in or out.
Yeah.
So not the out, but if you're still in, and the people who are gonna respond in, then we're going to get together to build the DAO. I think we have to build a DAO so they can feel they know that this is happening.
Mm-hmm. You mean setting up the Discord and all that?
Oh, we have the Discord. Yes. So we have also the Discord. You have to help me with that because when I build this, I hired somebody to build it for me who's doing NFT servers. There's so many things. We need to have a channel of DAO that people of the community, they don't have access to the DAO. It's only for the DAO members, right? And I think that's easy to make a channel, a private channel, right? I know about the rules, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think you can help with that?
Yeah.
Coolio. All right. And why you don't want to be the Sherpa? Put you on the spot again.
That sounds like a lot of responsibility. I don't want to be in charge of anything. I'm done being in charge of things. I don't want to be in charge of my own life at this point.
Okay. let Oscar be the charge of your life. Yeah. How about this? Until we feel that everybody can govern and can have like a good decision making, me and you coordinate, not lead, coordinate.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning we have to coordinate, right?
Yeah. That makes sense. I
All
just don't want to accept any more responsibility.
Well, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility as an equal member to the other people.
Yeah. But one of what, 13? Is that what it is?
Yes, right people? Now. 13 people, yeah.
I feel okay with that. I don't want to be one of less than 13.
Well, listen, the DAO later on going to be big. A friend of mine was telling me that if he asked me actually, because I told him he's not a part of the group, he's another friend of mine. We talk about crypto. Say, do you want me to help you to find a VC for a DAO? I said, not right now, but eventually this is going to be open for investments. Mm-hmm. So we have to find a way how to bring money in and not to affect the governance. I don't want to bring somebody with money and make decisions,
Yeah, that's going to be hard.
So we always have to find ways. And that's the things I need to learn about it. That's why I think there are some people in this group that they can help with the research about how we govern the DAO. So, so that's the steps, right? The meeting, introduction, and setting the tone about the next steps, Q&A, and the question who's in after that. And after that, we're going to have a meeting soon again. Oh, we have also to ask them maybe to how can we connect everybody, because we have 2 people from Greece, we have 1 person from Australia, we have West Coast, East Coast, Mountain Time. We need to find a way somehow. You was talking about the app, right? Remember, make an app. That would be actually very cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
How can we like? What do you think we should do? Like, give them like some options to decide and vote.
Well, we just have a very small window of when we can even do it with everyone, right? Like you were saying, like 8 a.m. in Australia was like
It's
11 in
in
Greece,
Greece, yes, in the night,
and then it's like midday here.
yes,
So I feel like we just need to figure out what that window is.
right,
It's
right.
like 3 hours or whatever, and then
Yeah.
have people vote on.
I mean, I know Chris, he can go late. I don't know about Konstantinos. All right, I guess we're gonna figure out the window, and maybe don't give too many options. Maybe also for the day, it can be the weekend. I don't know. Maybe weekend is best for everybody. And
Yeah.
we will need to find the frequency in those meetings. That makes sense for everybody. So, okay, so we have the meeting, we have the Q&A, we have who's finally in, all right, and then a meeting to actually discuss about building the DAO,
Mm-hmm.
and we start from there. And then we have to
Actually start doing stuff instead of just talking about doing stuff.
doing stuff. We have to fix the Discord so we can explain. Oh, so the final team, we're gonna invite them to the Discord server. Okay, so we can have some live in the Discord server, so we don't have to send emails. So we're gonna all live in the Forest Discord server. I think that's what we need to do. And then we have to. I mean, the good thing, we have the artwork, but we have to talk about the artwork also. Some people maybe want to create some more traits and maybe some colors. We'll see about it. Maybe we can create some more backgrounds with GIFs and music. I don't know. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can keep it simple and we just launch it and we start generating money from the DAO and for us. Right? All right. Okay. So I think that's good, right? That was good. We covered everything. Thank you for holding for keeping company Saturday night. Try to make tweets work.
What a freaking nightmare.
I don't think we're gonna go back to tweets between me and you.
If I can figure out all we have to do is figure out why your audio wasn't pulling in to OBS. And if I can figure that out, then it'll be fine.
That's the assumption that you're actually hosting it.
That we can stream to Twitch from OBS and do whatever we want. We can pull in the video, audio, browser window, whatever screen share we want to do.
I think what we need to do is, if we have, let's say, 13 or 15 people for the DAO, whatever it is, we need to create an open source decentralized radio station somewhere that all the people have access. We have to make a channel that everybody has access and, talk about our things and keeping an open platform communication, because if the people are getting the community, they have like somewhere to listen to us, so people can say, you know what, today I'm going to do a show, I'm going to play music and I'm going to talk about the forest, so I think that would be a good idea to create some extra hype and engagement. What do you think?
Do you like as a Twitch channel or YouTube channel or both?
I don't know if it's going to be Twitch. I mean, Twitch seems problematic. If you can figure it out, I mean, then we have a Twitch channel. We can have a Twitch channel that everybody has access, so we can make moderators or something. Or I think Twitch is a good platform. I need to explore it. Have you
I think it's better for the more casual stuff, but maybe not like for like screen sharing and doing other stuff. Maybe it's like YouTube or somewhere else. I don't know. I like the idea of Twitch, but
yeah, I like the idea of Twitch, but they prove that it needs work. So maybe it's for one person, it's not for double stream stuff. So if we can give access, maybe we can create a schedule and we start,
It would be cool if it was like, because how we're going to divide out tasks between everyone, like so-and-so is going to work on this or whatever. And then they're going to like stream like while they're working on it or something like that.
Yes, that's it. And they can play their music, for instance, and they can do stuff and they can be goofy in the camera, and to create this authentic reaction, but we're gonna be there. I mean, I'm gonna watch pretty much all of them and I'm gonna have fun. And I think that's a great idea. So maybe a channel like radio, Twitch video channel, live streaming, that we actually present our journey. So it's
Mhm.
public building. That's how we call it.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's figure out, let's put this idea on Tuesday. Let's see if people like it, and we'll take it from there.
Alrighty.
All right, my friend. Well, you have a good Saturday night and a good Sunday, and we're going to be in touch and Tuesday.
Sounds good. Super Bowl tomorrow.
Are you watching? I don't know.
I'm gonna watch it, but I don't really care who wins. Who are you going for?
Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals. We
I would
like the
like them to
underdogs.
win.
We like the
Yeah,
underdogs.
yeah,
I
that's
like it.
that's why I would like them to win too. But I'm excited about the halftime show. That should be good.
Dr. Dre and Eminem, right?
Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
Is there somebody else? Is it Kendrick Lamar? I think
so. I think so.
Huh,
You know, when I first
should
came to
be good.
America and watching I was in a friend's house and watching the Super Bowl. There were a lot of women, and the women didn't care about the football. Say, guys, halftime show, come. But it was about the ads. It was the
Yeah.
ad. So that was another thing I didn't know. People are rating ads, which one they
Yep.
like the most, and the show. You know, who's singing what. I say, okay, I love America. All right.
Ridiculous.
I know. Anyway, all right, my friend. We'll be in touch. All right. Talk later.
All right. Bye.
Peace. Bye.